Cowboys haven't ruled out trading linebacker Micah Parsons
All right, that's ridiculous.
as contract talks loom.
That's a real thing?
We're about to discuss how much of a real thing it really isn't.
They beat the Panthers 30-14.
They should be 7-7. They'd be 8-6 if they had played Dowdle more earlier in the season.
What game would they have won?
You don't. It's a butterfly effect, dude.
No, you don't have any
It's not-
evidence.
Changes the tone of the game.
You know what? Dowdle makes a 30-point difference. They could have beaten the Ravens.
You control the game. You shorten it. It's a different game. At a minimum, we can admit it is hilarious that this late in the season, yes, the Panthers and Bengals are both terrible against the run. But with a patchwork offensive line, they're just breaking out 100-yard games.
Well, didn't he have a good game against Pittsburgh?
That was like the game where they first started to really go to him.
But then they stopped the next game.
They had a one-game drop-off there.
Yeah. Then they played Detroit, and they were like, whatever. What if we start with Zeke?
Yeah. That was also the week Zeke kind of complained. Because if you recall,
in
the Pittsburgh game, Zeke fumbled.
On the goal line.
Near the goal line. Or no, Rico did. There was something that happened.
He will fumble.
He will, as will Cooper Rush.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall sounds of the sideline last week when their quote-unquote offensive coordinator's like, boy, you sure do love recovering fumbles, don't you? But basically since the San Francisco game that Dowdle oddly missed because he was
Remember that?
just
Conspiracy
sick
theory?
randomly because they needed to get Dalvin Cook a little run. He's been super solid. That's a guy I'd like to have back here.
Yeah, they're not really good at identifying the talent and deciding who they should use.
Or they
Unless
are,
they
and
sign
they're
him
told
to a
no.
big contract, and then they will definitely work them in. Or if they were drafted in the first round, okay, well, that means you're the best player and we'll play you.
A lot of teams do that, but in this case, the running back situation we know is completely Jones-related. Not like Mike McCarthy and Will McClay were like, what's Zeke up to? I bet he could really help this thing out.
Right.
No chance.
They weren't probably also weren't high on drafting a tiny guy.
Yeah, that
Rico's not even drafted. Undrafted free agent, 3 straight 100-yard games in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was
would love to have him back.
It was everything.
Would also love to add another free agent that's probably in the same kind of sphere market as Rico Dowdle. It'd be great to have 2 Rico Dowdles, which is not hard to do.
No.
I think in this NFL, unless you are drafting a relative of one of your scouts and bringing back Zeke because it'll be good marketing.
No, there's no reason they shouldn't have a mid-round or free agent running back to pair with Dowdle going into next year. No reason. And that's probably, I assume, what they'll do, but we don't even know who the coach is going to be or the style of offense, so everything's kind of up in the air there.
So let's do the Micah thing. Because, yes, that's like a big headline, and I saw he was asked about it after the game.
Yeah, we'll hear that.
It's like, what the hell?
So the video report that I saw from Ian Rappaport, and it was out on Twitter, it says, Rappaport, Cowboys haven't closed the door on a potential trade of linebacker Micah Parsons. On game day morning, the Chiron, Dan, says, Cowboys haven't ruled out trading linebacker Micah Parsons as contract talks loom. So I listen to the piece, and I read the corresponding text piece on NFL.com, and I will read to you what Steven said. This was at the league meetings. If you recall, I played some audio from Steven at the league meetings last week just saying, boy, the cap is tight. Mm-hmm. Money's tight. It's going to be a 2-year tightness.
They meet during the season?
Yeah. They'll meet in December. There's a bunch of league meetings you don't even know about them, dude.
Well, I know about the big one in March, April.
Where they take the photo?
Yeah.
No, they meet all the time.
Okay.
Just ask Jerry because he's like, hey, look at me. Look how virile I am. I went to New York and back in a day. But this was not in the audio where he was talking to several reporters. This is just a rap sheet special. So regarding Micah, here it is. asked if the thinking will be altered when it's Parsons' turn to negotiate a potential deal given the stress big contracts can put on an organization. Stephen Jones said, yeah, that'll all be things we consider. Obviously, we're totally all in on Dak and CD. But after that, then you still shape things, including Micah. But Micah's a great player. You don't do well in this league letting guys like Micah usually leave the house. We love Micah. I can't imagine there's a scenario where he's not wearing a star on his helmet. That's the quote. The headline, Stephen Jones, Cowboys haven't closed the door on a potential trade of Micah Parsons as contract looms.
It doesn't sound anything like that at all.
He essentially just said, Dak and CD, we won't be trading them because we just signed them to these huge contracts. That's the only thing that makes them different than anyone else.
But I feel like the opposite of that headline is maybe not the legitimate opposite.
Like, why would he say, in addition to Dak and CD, we would also never trade Micah?
Yeah.
Why would he say that? He's under contract for one more year. What are you?
And he might trade Dak or CD
to the extent that he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can trade these big contracts these days, but
that was a
that seems very clickbaity.
Bull-esque job by Rap Sheet.
Well,
right there.
Incredibly clickbaity for a guy that doesn't need clickbait.
Yeah.
Like, we need it.
So that's honestly the only reason Michael is here today. We're like, just get the image out there.
Yeah.
We're
trying to get our lady viewership.
Micah was asked about it. Am I up, Blake?
Mm-hmm.
We see how quick he.
It's, yeah.
Last couple years, you guys playing for contracts. You're in a similar situation right now. There was a report this morning that the organization hasn't ruled out potentially trading you in the offseason.
All right, so let's just be clear here. What we now have is we have a reporter. Why am I blanking on his name?
Mike Leslie.
Mike Leslie.
Oh, I was guessing.
No, yeah, Mike Leslie of Trevon fame. Now, he's doing his job, but he's like, hey, there was a report. Now, Mike Leslie probably saw the report and was like, this is utter nonsense.
Right, but got to run to Micah.
Yeah.
Hasn't ruled out potentially trading you in the offseason. When you hear conversations like that, does that motivate?
Okay, even in saying it like that, it makes it seem like Steven said, you know what? We could trade Micah this offseason.
Yeah.
That's the way it's phrased. And now if you're telling Micah, I don't know, it probably inside it hurt his little heart because he, talks all the time about how he loves the Cowboys and wants to stay here, and I don't care. My agent probably doesn't want me to say this, but I can't.
Jerry's my guy.
I want to stay here.
And I'm his guy.
People can't be too greedy, taking too much, because then you can't have other guys around you. Like, he said all the things that you would want a player to say if you were a Cowboys fan, and now you're telling him, hey, your boss said they just might trade you this offseason, when your boss didn't actually say that at all.
No, and it should be noted.
This is why people hate the media.
This is not a normal thing that you should be given praise for, but he could have held out before this year. Zeke did.
Mm-hmm.
CD, he didn't have to hold out.
No, but he was a year late, but he was
on time.
Yeah, because he's a second round.
1 year ago, yeah.
Not
1 year to
round,
go.
Yeah, 1 year
Zeke
to go.
held out with 2 years to go.
Micah's like, those guys need to get paid.
Yeah.
He really hasn't said that much about his own pay. He's just constantly talking about getting paid.
Right. We know that's
so
why he's talking about other people.
You got to go say to him, like, I don't know if you heard about what Steven said.
Motivate you to go out and do what you did today and show, hey, keep me around?
Nah, I understand how that business side goes. Listen, no hard feelings in this.
Also, that's stupid. Did that motivate you?
Yeah.
So you heard that report, and so you went out and got 8 pressures and 2 or whatever his numbers. So you had a really good game.
Oh, my God. He's been the best defensive pass rusher. Or I was going to say defensive player, but he's been the best pass rusher in the league since he came back because that's what he can be.
Wait, was that because they were going to trade him?
Yeah, I think it's all, yeah.
Like just this morning, you got motivated to play good football.
I wasn't going to show up.
All your whole career. You've been awesome. But just this morning against a crappy Panthers team,
right at noon.
Now you are now motivated to get out there. And
it's more like, bro, I wasn't going to show up on God, right?
Oh, God, bro.
Motivate you to go out and do what you did today and show, hey, keep me around?
Nah, I understand how that.
Keep me
That's also
around.
to keep me around.
Please, sir.
We had, and you know, we were a
Please
little,
keep me around.
we were a little undecided here. Well, he's not Nick Vigil.
Please.
Yeah, we need a little more tape before we figure out whether this guy's on the bubble or not.
Motivate you to go out and do what you did today and show, hey, keep me around?
Nah, I understand how that business side goes. Listen, no hard feelings in this business. You know, whether I'm here or anywhere else, you know, obviously I stayed how I wanted to be here. But, you know, at the end of the day, I understand the business side. And, you know, I put in a lot of work. I play hard too. So obviously if sides can't, you know, agree to those type of things, that happens like that. But, you know, I'm just happy to be here. And I'm going to just keep playing hard while I'm here. And if I'm here for next 5-6 years, I'm going to keep playing hard then too. So it ain't really nothing going to make a difference. Micah going to play hard.
Love that he first personed at the end there.
A little Micah going to play hard. I've never heard him do that.
Me neither.
He's going to switch into that.
Is that first or third person?
Third person.
Third
Micah
person. I was
thinks.
like, what? Yeah. Micah going to play hard. Yeah, he was everywhere yesterday. He was awesome. But all the news about your football team ain't been good news, as Steve Harvey once said, because the other thing we got pregame, freaking waylaid after Trevon was listed early as a questionable in the week. He talked to the media. Then we find out Friday, he's not going to play. And then we find out Sunday morning he's having surgery and he's out 8 months. And at least according to Clarence from DLLS, All City Dallas, that the Cowboys are very frustrated with how he's handled this knee situation.
What does that mean?
That he rehabbed it or does his rehab work away from the team. Who knows?
Which means not at all.
Yeah. Now, is that rain?
I know. It doesn't look like it outside, but
I think it's pouring, but it's sunny. Want to go see if there's a rainbow? That'd be exciting.
That's not a bad
Michael,
idea.
can
We'll
you
live
go
stream
get
it.
some video?
Yeah. What if it's a double?
Now, it should be noted that, let me see here. I got to pull this up. That this ridiculous narrative that the media is out there pushing, Micah had to weigh in and tweet that this is just ridiculous. That it's just, trying to slander Trevon. I'm trying to pull up the exact tweet here because.
Oh, he's worried about that narrative. I thought you were saying the narrative that the Cowboys are open to trading Micah. Okay.
No, let's
That
see.
doesn't upset him. People mad at Trevon upsets him.
Yeah. So Kavanaugh tweeted a quote from Clarence. I can tell you that the Cowboys were not happy with the way Trevon Diggs, attacked his rehab. Says Trevon's new injury is serious and 2025 is in danger. That was right before the game. Well, right after the game, this is his second tweet after my brothers, I play for them, 1-0 photo. The next one is bullshit. I'll drop facts one day, just not today. But this bullshit and a bad narrative that they've tried to put on my brother's name. Don't know.
So, is this the same knee from last year?
I think not.
I think it. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think so.
So what are they mad about the rehab about? Because they said after the game that this injury occurred in the game against the Bengals.
Yeah, so I think here's from Steven on the Fan per Machota. He was having to play with fluid in his knee. He was out there doing everything he can because he wants to play, he wants to compete, he wants to contribute. But unfortunately, he suffered a new injury that has to do with cartilage. It's a very legitimate injury. It's going to take some time to recover. I don't think he'll be a player during training camp. I think his timeline is going to be about the start of the season, which means he will not play the first half of next season. And he'll likely be joined by the real Agent Zero, Overshown, which you could easily make the case as two of their four best defensive players.
Man, I don't know if he plays next year.
He might not play again.
Again?
Pretty
It's
serious.
a second pretty serious knee injury. He's not young. He played 5 years in Austin with the COVID. So.
Oh, Overshown. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Trevon.
No, he's pretty young actually, but for Overshown, it's his second one.
Yeah, that's
It's a dangerous position.
He did a lot of damage. That's not just an ACL.
It's all the CLs.
It's all of it.
Alphabet.
They actually had to
surgery.
sew the leg back on.
cowboy doctor with a
You just
bottle of bourbon.
Yesterday you had CD.
you bite on this.
CD, another big game, goes over 1,000 yards again. 9 receptions, 13 targets. Brandon Cooks got some targets. Jake Ferguson, of course. Jalen Brooks, Jalen Tolbert, both with touchdown.
Almost the same touchdown, wasn't it?
Really nice. Cooper Rush was very good. He also had a fumble in the red zone again.
That's really just about it.
I guess they've had 9 red zone turnovers this year. Brevin Spann-Ford.
Get the new Mach-E at Brevin Spann.
I was going to say, yeah, that's
Got a catch. Cavante Turpin didn't get a catch, but he did get 1 target. Even Zeke.
Turpin got a carry, though.
Yeah,
It was like a 16, 17-yard carry out of the offset pistol. I liked that.
I'm focusing, though, more on throws their way because Zeke got a catch, a reception as well. My point here is the Jonathan Mingo revenge game.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I
they
forgot
did.
about him.
Go pretty deep in the bag before getting to
He did not get a target.
Mingo. Yeah.
Boy, did
Was he
even
on the
play?
field?
Let me check my snap count.
I never remember seeing him on the field. Like how many? Why don't they just?
He played 13 offensive snaps.
Why don't they just donate their 4th round pick to the Salvation Army and then they could sell it to the highest bidder?
Yeah.
And make a lot of money that way, and they just never use it anyway. It doesn't matter. Like,
I mean, they did get a franchise quarterback from it, and then I think they were kind of like, boy, that's like 10 years of...
even going into the game, I was wondering, why is Cooper Rush playing? Like, you have very little time left to see if he can do anything. I don't think he can.
What do you mean can do anything?
Not Cooper.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance.
No, yeah. Well, I think the reason you do it is this. I think they're probably going to bring Cooper Rush back. He's done enough.
No, but
Stay with me. So it doesn't, I mean, I guess on one hand, this could all be for naught if McCarthy's gone, but they want to bring him back next year as their backup, and your backup's only going to be better the more he's played in real game action. So if they have an idea of re-signing him, which otherwise they wouldn't be playing him, they're at least going to try to re-sign him, and then next year when Dak misses 4 or 5 games, you'll say, look, we feel pretty good about this guy. He's got a lot of reps. Let's keep running him back out there rather than taking a few games away from him to see what Trey Lance can do, which we all are pretty sure is nothing. That's the biggest selling point I could give you on playing Rush is those guys have to play, and this is valuable.
okay. Well, the point is then they just don't know what they have with Trey Lance, or maybe they have seen such garbage in practice that
I think McCarthy had him foisted on him.
Yeah.
Completely.
And, of course, McCarthy is playing for his own contract here. How do you feel about that right now? Like, so they beat up on, they beat the Panthers. They beat the Giants. I guess beating Washington, Pat, is the one you could be pretty impressed with.
Pittsburgh. If you want to wind it back further. But, yeah. No, it's not that impressive. They're doing
who have they beat this year overall? Pittsburgh and Washington are the 2 impressive games. Pittsburgh was very fluky, and you could have easily lost that game. And the narrative would be way different.
Yeah, but it would also be very different had Awarrior not,
Done
Leon leaded that
Bengals
ball.
thing, yeah.
Brandon Aubrey kicks a game winner. Now they're 7-7, and you're probably looking at it going like, "Hey, the Panthers played the Eagles pretty hard. They played the Chiefs pretty hard." 7-7.
I was trying to figure that out too.
Bucks are flailing.
I went heavy on Pittsburgh yesterday in one of my betting things. What the hell?
But as it all relates to McCarthy,
How good is Philly?
I
They might be good.
Yeah, I know it's a problem. They don't even need Barkley. He was out for like half the game, and when I flipped it on, Gainwell was just okay, easy. I have no feel for the McCarthy thing anymore because I could see Jerry thinking, this is a pretty sweet deal. As long as we're healthy, we're probably going to win a lot of games.
Same as, keep us in the mix, in the bubble mix.
It's like Garrett a little bit better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's better
way
than Garrett.
better, way better.
right, but always in the mix.
Yeah.
But not a decided advantage coaching wise. They're of the same ilk, but they're also both very safe. You could bring McCarthy back for 3 or 4 more years and just say, look, things break right. We'll probably end up 10, 11, 12 wins. Keeps people interested.
Does he get a job if he didn't come back to the Cowboys?
No.
Boy, I think so.
Like, we were kind of looking at possibly Chicago, although Chicago has their sight set on Ben Johnson, right? At least that's the early word.
Somebody's going to hire Joe Brady, and I would love for it to be here.
Where's he?
Buffalo.
Okay.
He was the Saints. He was LSU's offensive coordinator for 1 year in the insane year. 2 years, actually, I believe, but really took off Burrow's second year. And before that, he was a guy in the back of the room in like quality control when my brother worked for the Saints. And they were like, hey, this guy, he had some ideas. Next thing you know, he was LSU's OC. Then he was the Panthers OC. And then he's the Bills OC. He's going to get a job. But it just seems like the league is going that way. I mean, I don't know. The Belichick thing has me, if I were Mike McCarthy, I'd be a little bit worried.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously doesn't demand the control or, even the inferred control. Even if Belichick came in and said, I don't demand control, Belichick looms large. Mark McCarthy does not loom large, except for physical stature.
Yeah.
But, like, guaranteed job openings this year are Chicago, Jacksonville. I guess Jacksonville's not guaranteed, but it is to me, right? Giants, Jets, New Orleans.
He does have New Orleans history, I think.
New England could possibly, but I would think if they gave up on what's his name after 1 year, it might be because they're going after Vrabel.
Yeah.
Bring Vrabel home.
I don't know. I mean, McCarthy's he's fine. But
Right, but I'm wondering what he does seem to fit a good team that wants to take that next step, like the Cowboys, more than he would fit any of these other like rebuilding projects or.
Yeah, but I could see the Giants and Jets haven't had a good coach in forever. Maybe they just want like a solid guy that's not a flyer.
I would advise those teams to find someone else to call plays.
And maybe that's the issue with McCarthy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really know what else there is to say about yesterday.
We had we got it. We got the record trying kit, or record attempting. Like, it all worked out to yardage and to place and everything on the field. And
whenever it was happening, I just thought of you, just sitting there watching.
Oh, I was writing in my notes on right before the first half. There was a penalty. It was like a bad call.
It was
roughing on somebody was roughing CD, right?
It was a targeting on the third of
Xavier
CD.
Woods.
It was a terrible call.
Yeah.
Perfect hit.
Yeah,
shoulder to shoulder. Even Pereira afterwards was like, yeah, this might be under review next year. But that took them out of NFL record field goal range. They were exactly on the 50. So I was excited about that.
If you've got to go to Pereira a play later, what's the point of going to Pereira? Because they had already run another play when they went back to his.
Right, and it had already been determined.
Yeah, and then it was done with.
We'll talk to Brandon Aubrey tomorrow. If you would like to tune into that. That's subscriber-only content. Brandon Aubrey's great, but I did see him talking after the game. Was like, he said he didn't even attempt like 65-yarder or 60. I don't even think he tried a 60 before the game.
Because of the wind?
Yeah, and he was saying he thought his FAR was going to be 62 to 63 that day.
He would know.
He would like to get the opportunity in the climate-controlled dome of Jerry World or whatever, but yeah, I wondered if he just tried too hard, because obviously, when you swing too hard a golf club, that's exactly what the ball does.
Totally, yeah.
It hooks like that. But I'm looking over at Blake because he's a big hitter as well.
Yeah,
Long.
it'll just match whatever your miss is, and it kind of hooked a little on him, and it didn't. What I don't know, kicking. I don't know. It just looked weird.
It looked to me like here's my my expert analysis. It just looks like he tried to kick it really hard, and everything got sideways.
So-
when he did.
Wait, was that was like mid-quarter or something? It wasn't the very end of the half or anything.
No, it was.
It was the end of the half?
Yeah, they honestly they executed it perfectly.
Okay.
Because they had the slide, the spike, and it was.
Okay, it was the end of the
perfect.
half. I'm sorry. They
Yeah.
finally because they gave up the touchdown and then because I was thinking if that was mid-quarter, then the very dumb play would be to return it and run it back.
Yeah, you just take it from the miss. And you're getting it in 10 yards into plus territory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg was great because he nailed it. I guess I just had never known this, but you always, when you're returning kicks like that, you try to run it at your sideline. Why is that? Because he nailed it. He
Say
said
that again.
They're gonna try to. He said they're gonna try to catch this field goal if it's short, and he's gonna return it this way because you want to return it along your sideline, and that's exactly what they did. But I'd never known that was a special teams thing.
Yeah,
Maybe-
now that you say that, I
maybe-
guess I do.
Maybe we can ask Brandon about it. But Greg said it like, yeah, this is just common knowledge that you return it along your sideline. But I had never heard that before, or just didn't know.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to go to a pro.
Well, stay tuned tomorrow.
You did note that there was a Zeke catch. That was he had two
He
plays
went
in a
off.
row. Yeah, handoff and then a little bobbled play. He actually looked a little quick right there.
Interesting too that we've stopped with the big Trey Lance couple games in a row. It's like, oh, we got this thing for Trey Lance, and then brought him in to play, and then he's gone
Well, that was
None of it makes any sense.
well, that was the Cowboys media being offensive coordinator.
because they were talking Trey Lance all that week.
Yeah.
There is a way to actually make that work, and I'm sure there are a lot of Texas fans that are like, why are we even doing this? But they use Arch effectively. He doesn't run every time.
Red zone.
They figured out a way to make it work. And I don't see why Dallas could not be doing that. Especially if you put him in the backfield with Turpin and Dowdle.
It's fun.
The guys run basically option plays before, at least under Shanahan. They could figure that out. And they just choose not to.
Yeah, because he is one of their best athletes.
By far, yeah.